following program, despite what you have been told, is not the brainchild of some evil mastermind. It was just a lark, a more creative outlet than ceramics. Think about it. How many times can I say, "Look, Billy, I made a vase"? Moo-ah! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Newman, aka Good Lawgic. I need to start by taking care of my ghetto. Let's make sure the ghetto, because the ghetto was having all sorts of problems, all sorts of issues. The stream wasn't loading, it wasn't processing, it was a whole sort of mumble jumbo. So I'm looking at you, ghetto. I need to know, am I coming in loud and clear? Are you seeing good things? The ghetto. I'm talking to you. Ghetto. I'm gonna have to refresh this myself. Anything? It looks like it. Yeah, it's good. All right, Serene Pickle sees me. All right, we're good. We're good there. All right. I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to cover with you. After the show, I'm going to be doing a locals stream, a local show after party where I'm going to be talking about what everybody seems to get wrong about politics. Maybe there's some exceptions. I don't know. I don't seem to hear from them at all. It's actually a few things. People just getting really, really wrong. Wrong, I say. Wrong. And I'm calling it out. Naming names. No, I'm not naming names. But I am calling out that, like, I listen to some of these different people talking about different things, and I'm like, I'm surrounded by idiots here. I was in an X space today. If you follow me on locals at goodlogic.locals.com, you know that I was in an X space today, and I was literally sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm listening to here. This is the stupidest thing in the world. This is just so whatever. That's gonna be on locals. If you had issues with locals or stuff like that, I went through this last week. I'm going to say it one more time in case people missed last week and whatever. Okay, some people I know prepaid for locals. I know they did, and the locals with the whole payment thing, it shut off their thing. I don't want you paying a second time. I don't want anybody paying me twice. I don't want anybody who can't afford it to pay. I just want you all there. It's like a cover charge. It's a cover charge. It's designed like a museum. You go to a museum, there's a recommended thing there. So yeah, is it going to be members only? Yes. Does that mean it's excluding you in any way, shape, or form? No. I don't want anybody, any human excluded. I don't even care if you don't speak English. You might be saying, and I want you there, okay? How much clearer can I make it? Maybe you're like, we don't have dollars here. We're dealing with rupees. We're dealing with pound, some really weird thing like British pounds. I don't know. I don't know what your dealio is. Whatever it is. Seriously, hit me up at the following pro on X, and I will hit you up I will link you. I'll take care of you. You can also send me an email. I hate email. Can't stand email. It feels like slower than snail mail. But at goodlogic@gmail.com. And I will hook you up with a code. Okay? It's a recommended thing. But I really want you there. And I would, especially if you can do that move. That'd be amazing. Amazing. Amazeballs. All right. Whew, got that out of the way. Now, one of the things I have listed on the agenda for today, first thing that I'm going to bring up on the agenda today is this Kamala fake crowd AI thing. I don't know what it is. Really, I saw a video and I was like, I don't have time to watch this video before the show and I want to watch it. So, and if it's remotely good, either I'll be recommending this guy and saying wonderful things about him. I liked the first 30 seconds, and I was like, all right, you know what? I want to know more about this, because supposedly everyone's saying she's really popular now. Very, very popular. Do you see the crowds? Oh, Trump is losing sleep over these crowds. Oh, my God, the crowds. The crowds. The crowds. And I'm just like, really? Really? Who's going to this? Who's I guess is it like a wake? I don't know what it is. Why? I can't even imagine. Maybe. I think she's paying for her crowds. Maybe, but I think that part of it is that those crowds aren't real. But I want to look at that right now. We're going to start with that. First. We're going there first. But before I go anywhere, I need to call out Christine Huff, saying we must vote for President Trump to save our country. Amen. Here. I actually was reaching out to someone on X who works in my state to try and get the vote out for Trump. And I DM'd him. And I was like, what can I do to help flip New Jersey red? What can I do? Tell me. I'm ready to do it. I don't want to be. I'm not just whining. I'm not just screaming into my camera from my own, my own luxurious panoramic view room here. No. I'm willing to go out. I'm willing to tell me what you want me to do. I'll go out and I'll speak. I'll knock doors. I'll just be sitting there and I'll be like, I'll be pounding. You got to go out and vote for Trump. Don't tell me that you're down with this whole kooky, cockeyed, crazy Kamala woman. Don't tell me that you want the country to stay the way it is. Don't tell me you're happy with the way things are going. But I'll be talking a little bit more about that probably in my local show. That's at goodlogic.locals.com. Good Logic, spelled like that. Goodlogic.locals.com. What's going to be after the show? I set up at 12:30. I don't know if it's going to be 12:30 sharp. Might be later. Might be earlier. I don't know. We'll see how the show goes along. Let's get to this video that I want to watch.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump just had
this, by the way, courtesy of, I should give my source here. Depressed Ginger. I don't know this guy. I don't know how this ended up in my feed. I have not yet subscribed. He has 10 minutes to convince me to subscribe. Probably a little longer if I pause the video, which I definitely will. So, yeah. But Depressed Ginger. Tell us what you got.
At an hour-long press conference where he took questions uninterrupted, and we got a major bombshell regarding the potential debates. I talked about it yesterday. He came out, and it seemed like he was willing to do multiple debates. It wasn't just Fox News or nothing like he originally said. So Trump has gotten ahead of this. He's agreed to 3 debates, September 4th, September 10th, September 25th, the September 4th debate being on Fox News. September 10th was like ABC, and then the 25th was NBC. And Kamala Harris.
By the end of September, no one's going to be voting for Kamala. That's my prediction. It's just going to get killed. It's going to, unless some crazy development happens, which I'm not ruling that out. I'm just saying, everyone really loves her today. I'm going to bring that up in a moment. So let's do that.
Harris, from the looks of it, is running scared from Fox News. Of course, she agrees to the September 10th debate with liberal ABC or NBC, but she won't agree to the original, what Trump proposed, which is just great. You've got like 3 debates in the span of 3 weeks.
Midas Touch is like the queen of gaslighting. Let's put it like this, okay? You want to know how fake Midas Touch is? They have an ongoing relationship with admitted perjurer Michael Cohen. That's like he's their bread and butter. That's Midas Touch.
But she is afraid of Fox News. Remember the whole liberal charade narrative. Trump's afraid to debate, and now he puts out 3 debates now, and apparently she only agreed to 1. Now maybe it'll come out and she'll agree to all of them. but this is big stuff. Trump had a longer press conference talking about it. Trump just destroyed a fake news reporter asking him if he's worried about Kamala's crowd sizes. Well, yeah, and Trump was right here. This is the point. Trump will go to an arena, he'll sell it out with like 17,000, but then there'll be another 30,000 surrounding it. So he gets like 40 to 50,000 per arena because it overflows, like legitimately. And they don't even talk about that. Kamala Harris gets like 300 people at a tarmac. They have to AI edit the photo to put in more people. That's what they're doing now. I'll show it.
And this is what I want to get to. Show it. Show it. Show it. I was panning someone else for doing a terrible job in covering it. And so far, Depressed Ginger, you have me. You had me at hello. You had me at hello so far. I'm much happier tonight.
It's just totally edited. You can tell it's AI. It's fake. So they're talking about, oh, she's got these huge crowd sizes, and we know why. They tell them, oh, it's a free concert. They're going to shake their ass. It's going to be a rapper, whatever. And then they have to edit them like right here. Well, let's talk about this. Trump agrees to 3 debates on the 4th with Fox, the 10th with NBC, the 25th with ABC. Very charitable from Trump. Very charitable in terms of the 3 debates. You've got one right-leaning debate with Fox, and then really 2 liberal networks there when it comes to it. So the fact that she only agreed to the 10th, at least right now, and maybe she will duck the Fox debate altogether, it is pretty pathetic if that does end up happening. I hope all 3 debates happen. I originally said I thought there was going to be 2 debates. The fact that there's 3, this is great news. I always wanted the debates. Another thing that Trump talked about, and it confirmed what people were wondering about his campaign strategy. You know, JD Vance right now is taking a lot of heat from some conservatives. Trump is taking heat from some conservatives for not going out and campaigning. They're angry right now because the polls have gotten so close. That was always going to happen. But there,
I didn't mean to get into this.
There is a bit of an issue with Trump basically doing nothing this week, and then people wondering why go to Montana to help with the Senate race. You should be in the Rust Belt. You should be in Arizona, Nevada. Well, Trump basically said that he's waiting for the DNC to end. Now, the problem is it's come out that the liberal strategy, at least the rumor, is that they want to hide Kamala Harris from any type of huge media session where she has to answer legitimate questions from the media, where they actually question her on stuff. They want to hide her, and so she comes out unscathed going into the DNC, so their funding apparatus can really ramp up and they'll raise a lot of money, potentially at least tied with Trump in terms of the polls. Although Trump did get some good polls today, there were some ridiculous, erroneous Marquette polls yesterday that are going to skew the averages, of course.
And again, this is Depressed Ginger. I feel like I'm leeching his material, so I'm going to be pimping him out here. So I'm Depressed. If you're watching this after the fact, you heard that like I'm watching this with you. I am going to be pimping this out. In fact, I'm going to include a link to this video for anyone who wants to watch it afterwards.
But other than that, there are some good polls today. But really, they're trying to get her to the DNC unscathed. Vance and Trump need to come out every day and say she's not answering any questions. She's not answering any questions. She's not answering any questions. You have to embarrass her. And also Walz as well. Although, to be fair, Walz is, I think he's in Iraq right now. Oh, wait, he never went to Iraq. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. I don't know. But so that's what's going on. And we do also have this.
See what you did there.
This is total AI. You can tell. I don't know what this generator is saying. There's a 92% chance this is AI. So this is what not the Harris campaign tweeted, but
look at this picture. None of these people here look real. This doesn't. Nothing about this looks real. Nothing about this looks real. This looks ridiculous. This looks so fake. And they say it's 92. All these hands up here, none of these arms, they look like they're cartoons.
I think a few of their followers to try and make it seem like it's huge. So these, you look at like 200. Actually, these all might be fake. All of these fans, I think, are fake. I believe this part of the photo is real. The plane that was in Wisconsin, and then she got off and did the rally. These might be real people, but all of these.
I'm going to say right now, it's fake. It's fake, okay? I'll tell you right now, I will give $100 to anyone who gives a video that shows a crowd this packed at this plane, at this thing. All these people got their phones up. I will give $100 to the first person who can show me video of this, something that looks remotely, in any way, shape, or form, like this. All these folks here, thousands of people. I will give $100 to any one of them who can provide 20 seconds of video documenting this. Because I'll tell you right now, I am positive I'll never have to pay this. It's ridiculous.
People in the darkness they're all fake, and you can easily tell they're fake when you look at like some of them. As you get closer to them, you see like the focus on them. It's like they're drawing. It's like a realistic painting, if you will. But this entire photo might actually be fake. I'm not totally sure, but at least all of these people are completely fake. There's 92% chance. It's 100% chance it's artificial. Whatever system this is dumb. This should be able to. I can tell with a naked eye from here, looking at a small image like that this is fake. So it's not a 92% chance. That algorithm, if you're scanning something and saying, is this real or fake? It's not worth a damn if it doesn't come back and it can tell that this is 100% a fake altered photo that's just not real. So they're lying about their crowds. They have to use the AI. They have to use rappers, things like that. And the other thing I was saying when it came to Trump's strategy, I didn't finish trying to go back to it. So basically, Trump is, I guess, not doing many events this week, mainly because the DNC is coming up. I think he needs to start going to the swing states. I agree, and really hit the ground running. They said, well, this week, maybe he's trying to reset. His campaign is resetting. Another thing people are talking about, they're not seeing many Trump ads on TV. There was rumored he was going to really start the funding apparatus in September, but he did come out and say during this press conference that they were already pumping out ads. So maybe we'll be getting those soon, but I haven't seen many Trump ads either. And it's not just me. It's a lot of people. So it's not really anecdotal. There's been a lot more Kamala Harris ads. Remember, they saved the war chest. And by the way, it's also come out in terms of the way Kamala Harris is filing to run for president. Apparently, she's doing it virtually, honestly, illegally to be able to use Biden's war chest that he had. She's like running under the same.
That's an issue that she's going to get away with. She will get away with that. It's thievery, but she's going to get away with. I'll tell you right now, no one's going to come after her for it.
Number that Biden ran under, which I believe is not legal. I saw a tweet on it. So she's running under that because she wants access to Biden's war chest. Remember all the donors, they stopped funding Biden like 3 weeks before they overthrew him. They've got all that money. And now, so this is it right here. And the gist of this is apparently she used Biden's personal ID number instead of her own, which gives her access to the full Biden war chest. That's basically the summary of this thing. Obviously, you can see it is a lot of writing, but very interesting stuff there. I wonder if that actually is legal. And then this is Trump talking about the tax cuts that he originally installed back in 2017, saying that they're going to expire. And if the Democrats don't renew them, you're going to have to pay a lot more in terms of taxes. And he's 100% right here. The renewal is in 2025, and obviously if Trump is in office, we don't have to worry about it. But if it is the Democrats, we know their entire strategy based on taxes, it's total gaslighting. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm going to be saying. If you make under $400K a year, your taxes are not going to go up. Well, number one, because of your inflation that you've created, $400K actually isn't that much. And number two, that's never how it works out. The middle class always gets more taxes under the Democrats. That's just the reality of it. But they always gaslight and say, oh, but if you make under 400K, yeah, well, I mean, you can't even live in California on 400K. I'm not even kidding you.
Of course, it's
so that's what they're going to do. And they will probably not renew that. I think it's already come out. They're not going to. So that's another thing Trump needs to hammer on. That's very important. And then I will quickly run through the updated polls today.
So I got to the point that I wanted to. If you want to check out the rest of it, link is going to be in the description down below. Let me just update my description so you all, anyone who wants to check it out. Oh, whoops. Let's do this. Oh, dang it. I suck. I'm so stupid. Just tweet out the wrong thing. No, I'm so bad. I'm such a bad YouTuber. I'm so bad at this. Let me fix that real fast, because I send people to like that video to watch me live. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. I'm such an idiot. Let me delete this. So bad. I just did this. So I realized that during the while I was watching it that I forgot to tweet out. I'm such an idiot. All right. So that was Depressed Ginger, and I did include a link to him, and I like his work. From the little I've seen of it, I've never heard of him before. I don't know how he ended up in my feed, but I do like his work. So I'm going to urge you all to check him out, and yeah, maybe you'll like his work too. Maybe he has more good stuff. Who knows? It certainly seems based. I hope he's not depressed. He should be happy. Things are going well. Things are going very, very well. Okay, let's talk about this Pakistani Iranian assassin who's out to kill Trump. Now, to be fair, the news media trying to cover this as if he's just, quote, a political assassin, not a Trump assassin. No. We're going to see how ridiculous that claim is. Like, it's like, oh, maybe Biden is in jeopardy. I don't want Biden in jeopardy either, but that it's very clear. It's very, very clear that this is not about Democrats. This is about Trump himself here. Iranian agent tried to hire hitmen for possible assassination of Trump and other U.S. politicians, according to the feds. There's our boy. An alleged Iranian agent plotted to hire a hitman to assassinate U.S. government officials, including possibly former President Donald Trump. See, the Post is being cautious in saying that. Pakistani national Asif Merchant, 46, accused of planning political assassinations in New York City in August or early September, and paid $5,000 in advances to men he believed to be contract killers, according to U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. The Iranian indicted in Eastern District today is 100% an agent of the Iranian government, a law enforcement source told the Post. The plot was allegedly in retaliation to the 2020 Trump-ordered killing of prominent Iranian military leader Qasem Soleimani. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland confirmed Tuesday. We're not sure who his target is. It's very, very unclear. Very, very unclear. Trust me, if it was Kamala Harris, it would be everywhere. Oh, the Iranians are trying to kill Kamala. No, they just don't want everyone to feel like, oh, America's enemies despise Trump, because that doesn't really play well as we're leading up to an election. America's enemies, big fans of the left. Trump has been a known target previously Iranian backed assassination plans and the feds believe he may have been one of Merchant's targets. One of them, just one. Law enforcement source told the Post, but the accused terrorist never divulged the name of who he planned to kill during his meetings with undercover agents, instead cryptically saying only the target would have, quote, a lot of security. We're going to get into the actual charges, that are the affidavit that was filed against him, so we can actually get more detail about this story. We're going to go straight to the source. Let's go to the source. So it's not a very long affidavit. It's like 17 pages. It's complaint and affidavit in support of application for an arrest warrant that we're going to be looking at here. So this was the affidavit in support of the arrest. United States of America versus Asif Merchant, also known as Asif Raza Merchant. Count 1, murder for hire, from at least in or about April 2024 through July 2024. So I don't know why they were talking about September in the Post, but both dates being approximate and inclusive within the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere. Eastern District of New York, in case you're wondering, is basically Long Island. So you're talking Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, Suffolk, Eastern District. That's all Eastern District of New York, as opposed to Southern District of New York, which is Manhattan. pretty much. And then you have northern and western districts of New York. I was always under the impression that these federal courts have an eastern, southern. Those are the federal court jurisdictions. I was always under the impression that every state had northern, western, eastern, and southern districts. But apparently that's not true. Apparently that's not accurate. But anyway, that's where the Eastern District is covering those 4 counties. So you're talking Kings County, which is Brooklyn, Queens County, which is Queens, New York, Nassau, and Suffolk. So they were in the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere. The defendant, Asif Merchant, also known as Asif Raza Merchant, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally travel in interstate and foreign commerce, to wit, from outside the United States to the United States and from Texas to New York, and use and cause another to use a facility of interstate and foreign commerce, to wit, a cellular phone, with intent that a murder be committed in violation of the laws of the state and the United States, as consideration for the receipt of and as consideration for a promise and agreement to pay a thing of pecuniary value, which is a violation of 18 U.S.C. 1958. We should look at that statute so that we are more informed citizens. So let's pull that up real quick here. I'm going to pull that up real fast. Where are you? Here it is, 18 U.S.C. See, we did our homework beforehand. 18 U.S.C. 1958, use of interstate commerce facilities in the commission of murder for hire. Whoever travels in or causes another to travel in interstate or foreign commerce, or uses or causes another to use the mail or any facility of interstate or foreign commerce with intent that murder be committed in violation of laws of any state or the U.S., as consideration for the receipt of or consideration for promise or agreement to pay, meaning for money, because whenever you're talking about consideration, in the context of the law, it basically means an exchange of one thing in consideration of something else. So the thing you're giving is called the consideration. It's a noun in this context. That just basically means the benefit that you're giving. So the benefit one side's giving, the consideration is money, and the other benefit is the services, in this case, services being murder. Or who conspires to do so shall be fined under this title in prison for not more than 10 years or both, and if personal injury results, shall be fined under or title this in prison for not more than 20 years or both. If death results, shall be punished by death or life imprisonment. That's right, death penalty, if in fact they were successful. Fortunately, Asif Raza Merchant has been thwarted. So he's looking at potentially up to 10 years for plotting this crime. All right, getting back to our complaints here. I am special agent with the FBI. Been a special agent FBI since 2012. I'm currently assigned to the FBI New York field office, where I investigate crimes involving terrorism, espionage, including threats from Iran, Hezbollah, and the Quds Force. The facts in this affidavit come from my personal observations, blah, blah, blah. Okay. In addition, many of the statements described herein are based on draft English translations, because these conversations were not in English, or communications that were in some foreign language. Farsi, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But presumably some Middle Eastern language. It's unlikely that they were speaking a foreign language like Canadian. In my training and experience, I've become aware that the government of Iran has publicly stated its desire and intention to conduct operations targeting those perceived to be enemies of the Iranian regime. Oh, it's doing that again on me. In particular, representatives of the government of Iran have publicly stated the desire to avenge the death of Qasem Soleimani. This has got to go. That's not what I wanted it to do. Yeah, I'm still learning this thing. I don't like having to double click every time I do something. Who was killed January 3rd, 2020 by U.S. drone strike in Baghdad, Iraq. In August 2022, a member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, was charged with plotting to assassinate the former U.S. National Security Advisor in and around D.C. Likely in retaliation. Oh, my God. I can't have this every time. For the death of Soleimani. Based on my training experience. All right, let's get to this story here. I want to get down into the facts. The defendant, Asif Merchant, also known as Asif Raza, is a citizen of Pakistan. He was born in approximately 1978, Karachi, Pakistan. Merchant has stated that he currently resides in Pakistan. He also stated that he has a wife and children in Pakistan, and that he also has a wife and children in Iran. Dude gets around. So he's got two families. He's got one in Pakistan and one in Iran. In his travel records sent to the United States, Merchant indicated frequent travel to Iran, Syria, and Iraq. A photograph of Merchant is below. There's your handsome fella. The defendant plots to assassinate U.S. government officials. Since at least April 2024, Merchant orchestrated a plot to assassinate U.S. government officials on U.S. soil. After spending time in Iran, Merchant flew from Pakistan to the U.S. to recruit individuals in the U.S. to carry out his scheme. While in the U.S., Merchant contacted a person that he believed could assist him. He's looking for some help here because he doesn't feel like he can do it himself. The person, in fact, reported Merchant's conduct to law enforcement and became a confidential source working with law enforcement. So the person he reached out to, rather than joining him in committing this crime, came to us and told us what he was planning to do. Merchant asked the CS, the confidential source, to assist him in contracting hitmen. So he's like, we need more guys. We need more hands. So that's what he asked the CS for. CS introduced Merchant to two purported hitmen who were, in fact, undercover U.S. law enforcement officers. So after Merchant came after him and tried approaching him, he's like, this guy wants me to find hitmen. FBI said, fine, we'll give you these undercover officers who are going to play that role. Merchant subsequently paid the UC's $5,000 in cash in New York as an advance payment in the plot to murder U.S. government officials. We have no idea who they are. No idea. We know it's related to Soleimani. Who else would it be? I mean, seriously, who else would it be? Besides, it's revenge for the death of Soleimani. Let's just use our thinking caps here. Use our thinking caps. Is that Biden? I don't think so. On or about April 10, 2024, Merchant flew from Pakistan to Istanbul and then to Houston. So we're now in April of this year. And he comes from Pakistan over to Texas on or about April 13th to recruit individuals to carry out his plot to assassinate U.S. government officials. Soon after arriving in the U.S., Merchant contacted the CS under the guise of wanting to discuss potential business opportunities in the U.S. So he's like, look, let's do some business together, and let's hook up, and we're going to make some money. On about April 22, Merchant traveled from Texas to New York to meet with the CS in person. So he's like, oh, okay, so I need you to come, let's sit down and have a little face-to-face action coming here. Merchant told the CS that he and his uncle in Pakistan sold yarn-dyed clothing, suggesting the CS help Merchant sell the clothing in the U.S. So at the outset, it sounds like some typical business deal. Merchant instructed the CS to create a corporation in the U.S. which would enable them to do business together. That's Corporation 1. While discussing their business plans, Merchant told the CS that Merchant traveled to Iran 2 weeks before traveling to the U.S. in April 2024. So, yeah, I know I just came in from Pakistan, but I had been out to Iran, and Merchant offered multiple times to pay for the CS to travel to Iran. He's like, I don't really need to go on a holiday in Iran. I don't think I need to do that. Just not something I'm really up for. It's not really, April's not a good time of the year to go to Iran. I don't really need to do that. I don't have any FBI contacts there. So the Merchant's like, go, I'll pay. In approximately May 2024, after returning to Texas, Merchant called the CS on the phone and said they had an opportunity for the CS to earn up to $100,000 in the yarn-dyed clothing business. Okay. Merchant told the CS they want to discuss the opportunity in person. That's in May. But then on June 3rd, 2024, Merchant flew from Texas to LaGuardia Airport in New York. CS picked up Merchant from the airport and drove him to a hotel in Nassau County, New York. Hence, Eastern District of New York, Nassau County. While at the hotel, Merchant told the CS that the opportunity he had for the CS was not a one-time opportunity. It would be ongoing. Merchant then made a finger gun motion with his hand, indicating that the opportunity was going to be related to nefarious activity. Merchant subsequently took the CS cell phone, put it in a drawer for security reasons so they can discuss the plan. So they're in this hotel room, and he's like, all right, give me your cell phone. Give me your cell phone. Give it to me. He puts it in a drawer so we can sit and talk the plan, because we know how, in case you were unaware of it, like, okay, Siri and your phone are continually spying on you 24/7. So we're going to take the phone and put it there while we sit here plotting out our illegal activity. Merchant said that he would give the CS more details about the plan the next day, but then he needed the CS to arrange a meeting for Merchants to meet the hitman in New York. Okay. Next day, Merchant met with the CS hotel room and described the scheme in more detail. At the beginning of the meeting, Merchant again took the CS's cell phone, put it in a drawer for security purposes, implying it could be recorded, and told the CS never to speak when the phone is in his pocket. So it's looking pretty shady. Merchant then explained that his plot involved 3 different criminal schemes. So apparently he's looking to create a criminal organization. This is not like your thing, like I have a designated target, but that he has a broader plan for his activity here in the U.S. By the way, when I was watching Robert Gouveia, I saw someone there. I couldn't find the source that was being quoted. I do want to just call this to your attention. Purportedly, when he came into this country, he was a known terrorist when he got in here, but was still allowed in because he had supposedly some sort of special beneficial purpose. Apparently, maybe that's code for going after Trump. Maybe that's what that is. Maybe that's what that, I don't know. Special beneficial purpose, which overrides. Okay, so he had a privilege that enabled him to come in here, even though he was a known terrorist. What special? Okay, can't even imagine. Merchant then explained that his plot involved 3 different criminal schemes. Number 1, whoops, that's not what I wanted, damn it. Stealing documents or USB drives from a target's home. 2, planning a protest. And 3, killing a politician or government official. Merchant stated that the victims would be targeted here, meaning in the United States. He also stated that the people who will be targeted are the ones who are hurting Pakistan and the world, the Muslim world. These are not normal people. In my training experience, individuals engaged in plots originating overseas committed acts of violence in the U.S. often obscure the sponsor or broader purpose of the plot. So they're trying to say that this is connected to government activity. By the way, the charges now are for 10 years, but we don't know whether or not there are other potential charges. This is to get him under arrest. They can always have a superseding indictment and theoretically hit him with a lot more than this. Merchant instructed the CS to arrange meetings with individuals who Merchant could hire to carry out these actions. So he's looking to use the CS as his recruiter. Specifically, Merchant requested men who could do the killing, approximately 25 people who could perform a protest as a distraction after the murder occurred. So the protest that he was talking about there was designed to basically serve as some sort of deflection or something, and a woman to do reconnaissance, which that's a very vague term as to what that means and why it needs to specifically be a woman. Merchant told the CS these individuals needed to be trusted. Merchant also stated that he wanted the hitman to procure him an untraceable phone so they could communicate securely. Which I gotta tell you, this guy doesn't sound like he's really bringing much to the table other than money. You know, normally you would think of these people as being like, you know, involved in the actual stuff. It sounds like he's like, he thinks he's like rent-a-murderer. It's very weird. While in the hotel room, Merchant took out a napkin, placed objects on the napkin to illustrate a potential assassination plot, including a target, the person to be killed, a crowd, surrounding buildings, and streets. So now they're getting to him actually trying to figure out how he's sort of testing him at this point, like as far as Merchant's ability, the CS's capacity to actually, how would you do it here? Merchant began planning potential assassination scenarios on the napkin and quizzed the CS on how he would kill the target in various scenarios. Specifically, Merchant pointed to the target and repeatedly asked the CS to explain how the target would die. Now, I'm not going to kid you. This is very strange. I don't understand what I'm very confused by what's happening in this conversation. Are you asking where he's going to be shot? Are you asking him whether he's planning on using an explosive device? It's a little weird. Not going to kid you. Merchant told the CS that there would be security all around the person. An image of Merchant gaming up the assassination plot is below. You guys want to see the picture of them actually plotting? Which this is astonishing. And I have a question that I'm going to ask each of you to sort of answer and think about this for a second. How did they get this picture? His phone is in. He doesn't have a phone on him. His phone is in the drawer. That's what they told us. Presumably the guy closed the drawer, right? Here's the picture. You can see the little napkin over here. The little image things that they put up on them. How did they get this picture? I don't understand this. I'm genuinely confused. I don't understand this. Maybe some of you can help me understand this because I don't understand it. You guys aren't buying the story. The story smells made up like the dossier. Let me look over whether the ghetto is as skeptical. More like an AI Iranian agent. The FBI sponsored him to come into the U.S. so they could stop him from assassinating Trump and get a gold star for a job well done. That would explain how you have a picture like this. How are we getting a picture like this? I don't understand it. And they don't explain it. I went through this complaint. They don't explain how they got the picture. Isn't that just an extension of the Mann Act? It is. I think so, yeah. That's not a hitman, that's a G-man. Maybe. This sounds way too much like the Gretchen Whitmer kidnap plot that the feds ran. A total hoax. Merchant will get off. The feds are pretending they're doing their job after failing July 13th. So you're all cynical. Very strange to me. My whole audience, very, very cynical. All right. Where was we? Oh, yeah, going forward. Merchant instructed the CS that it would be better to talk in code and that the phrase yarn die was a code he used in the past when speaking with the CS about this meeting. The CS responded, I didn't even know what the hell you're talking about. I didn't know when you mentioned it. I thought you meant a real yarn die. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's what the CS said. He's like, what? I thought you really were. It's some of your uncles in the yarn dye business. Yeah, a computer on, they can get it. Okay. All right. I'm trying to figure. I'm not coming to this story with any preconceptions at all. I'm simply fleshing out the facts that are available and discussing it with you. So yeah, I mean, maybe. No, I mean, that would explain it, I guess. So now the CS is saying, what the hell are you talking about? I thought we were talking real business. Merchant told the CS that he should use the company they opened previously, Corporation 1, to transfer money for the plot. Merchant also said the plot would occur after he left the U.S. and would communicate with the CS from overseas using the code word. So I don't want to be around here when you're doing this. I don't want to be anywhere in the country. I want to pay you the money, and then you do it, and I don't want to be associated with this. The CS asked whether Merchant had spoken to the party back home with whom Merchant was working. Okay. Merchant responded that he had, and the party back home told him to finalize the plan and get out of the U.S. Get it wrapped up and leave. Merchant asked whether the CS was comfortable with the plan and indicated that the CS was getting paid would not be an issue. Don't worry, you'll get your money. We're going to see later. Not so much. It's not even like this is a lot of money. $5,000 sounds like a really cheap hitman. Sounds like a really cheap hitman. I would think murder for hire would be in the multiple tens at least. And if it's a big name politician, that's got to be at least six figures. It's like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, you know, yeah, we're going to want you to off Trump and do that for $5,000. Get past the Secret Service, all that other stuff. Yeah, sure. How does that make any sense at all? How does that make any sense at all? I can't imagine you would have someone sufficiently sophisticated and have the ability and capacity to pull something like this off, and that person be like, oh, totally, 5,000 is like that's the going rate for getting past the Secret Service and conducting an assassination. Of course. That's for 7,000. I'll throw in the rest of his family. Also, I'll go visit their house, and I'll you throw in an extra 2,000. If you throw in an extra $50, I'll set fire to his dog. This sounds so ridiculously low to me. Am I the only one who's thinking that this makes no sense at all? Like, this sounds like the worst con job in the world. It's like everything was under control the whole time, and this was, the perfect con job, and he totally bought it. All right, so Merchant asked whether the CS was comfortable with the plan and indicated he'd getting paid is not an issue. Merchant further stated that the nature of his work was different than the criminal activity Merchant believed the CS had conducted in the past, but that Merchant performed istikhara from Quran before doing this, meaning Merchant prayed to God about whether he should do this work or not, and received clarity from God to carry out his mission, and that God was going to make his hitmen work at really reduced rates. Every movie I see, at least, it's a lot more money than this. You can pick up a movie from 30 years ago, and they're going to be asking for an assassination, and they're going to be asking for $100K. I mean, assassination. This is not like some guy on the street that they want bumped off. Whenever you see we see these sting operations. Well, what was the price? Remember that woman? I don't remember her name. One of you is definitely going to remember. There's a woman who wants to get a hitman to murder her own husband. I think she had to come up with like $30K. Sure, but like assassinate like one of the most protected people on earth, $5K. Okay, and Forsaken Road is is 208,913,134 Iranian rials. All right. Yeah, I still don't. No, not buying it. Not buying it. That's funny. That's funny, though. That's pretty funny. All right. So now Merchant attempts to recruit Brooklyn locals for his scheme. On about June 5th, Merchant met with the CS again, expressed impatience. What's taking so long? The CSM meetings with potential hitmen. I don't understand. Now, this is a weird thing. He's expressing impatience. Let's understand something here. He only first learned about all this. That was June 5th. He's impatient, right? I mean, when we're looking at this story, it was less than like 2 days earlier that the guy showed up. Because I know they started talking in April, but the first meeting that they had was like, he said, was in June. I don't know what the heck they're talking about. Let me see if I can find it. In approximately May, he called him, and they're still talking about, it was June 3rd. June 3rd is when they have their first meeting. June 5th, the guy's impatient. Why haven't I met the hitman yet? Now, if you want to try and give some legitimacy to this story, you can say maybe he was very antsy that he wanted to get out of the country fast because he figured that things were not, that, you know, maybe if you buy this story. But he's impatient on June 5th. So they met June 3rd, and June 5th, he's already losing patience. This is the story we're supposed to buy. Merchant stated the whole purpose of his trip to New York was to have these meetings. So I'm only here because I'm waiting to meet these guys. Maybe that's his impatience. That's what they're trying to say. I don't know. CS told Merchant that he had contacted the hitman and was setting up a meeting. Don't worry, I'm on it. I got it. Merchant waited for the meeting to be scheduled. While he's waiting for that, he instructed the CS to drive around New York City looking for clubs where he could recruit other individuals to assist his plot. On or about June 6th, they go clubbing. I remember, by the way, I'm picturing this whole, them going clubbing here. And I remember, because I live in New York, some of you may be too young to remember this incident that is now, today, geezers like me refer to as 9/11. When they were rebuilding, there was talk about whether there was going to be some gay club that was going to be opened up in the area where now the Freedom Towers were put up. And I remember that when they were talking, that they would, the idea is that they sort of wanted to mock the attackers. And so they were coming up with different names that you would come up with if you wanted to set up a gay club that was let's say geared toward Muslims specifically. So yeah, I remember one was the only one I remember. So they would come up with different names that they would use to sort of, that would have some sort of tie-in between both of those very divergent perspectives. I remember one suggested name for the club was Ramadan, with like a dash between the Ram and the and the Dan. I'm not going to walk you through it though. Anyway. Yes, there was talk of a mosque being built on the site. And yeah, that I remember that. And people, you're correct, Yoma, that there was talk of a mosque being put on the site. And people were very outraged by it. And I think the response to that was the talk of like a gay club being put up. Yeah. Yeah. I see Roosevelt Media News got it. Okay. Anyway. It's family show. Okay. let's get back to the complaint here. There's only a few more pages left. But I think this is a great story. This is better than like reading a news article about it. Like going through this whole affidavit is, to me, like we're getting what the feds are saying or what happened here. Yeah, I guess so. I didn't thought of that. I'm curious what his visa look like, how long he's allowed to be here, and what type of visa. I don't know. I skipped a few chats. I know. Let me go back and get them. Maybe he had a coupon. Maybe, I don't know. Courtesy of Mo Lester. We know the going rates for hitmen's, but we're not a cult. We know. I know. I've watched movies. Okay, I've seen news stories. Okay, I'm gonna find now. Woman hires. No one told me. No one told me. At least if he did tell me, I missed it. Woman hires hitman to kill ex-husband. Okay, there we go. There we go. Dalia DiPolito. I remember seeing this. Now I gotta find out how much. And she went to the gym, and it was a whole thing was set up by the feds to like catch her. So even she paid $7,000 for that. And that's not assassination. You see, that's something like, something like that. It's like a million times easier. A million times easier. It's not even like the same bulb. It's not even like the same thing. Dalia DiPolito paid $7,000. I don't buy this. $5,000 on a mission from God to save a continent, maybe. Come on, Wag the Dog, Pound this, produced by Spielberg. Get out of here. So Wag the Dog was a movie which was basically showing how the feds do all these different operations to help control. I never saw it, but I know conceptually the phrase is referencing to the tail wagging the dog rather than the dog wagging a tail. And it referenced like different operations that are being done by triple letter agencies in order to sell something to the American public. I don't believe anything the FBI, CIA, or Secret Service say. It's complete BS. They're not going to hire someone to do this. They want to do it and take credit and become martyrs. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Why would this guy not want to be involved? They always want to be involved. They feel it because they feel as if like if they get involved and they do it, then they go to heaven, which is much more important than money or anything like that. Goats. What? Okay, now I'm gonna start getting all the different names for clubs. All the different names for clubs. Goats. Okay, here we go. Okay. Iran has a $3 million bounty on Trump's head. Yeah, you see that? Yeah. Okay, so where was it? Let's get back to this. That was great. So you're saying he's going to basically pay $5,000 and collect $3 million from Iran? Right. It seems like you'd invest a little bit more if you're interested in collecting the bounty, right? You'd invest a lot more, like 10% for overhead. Just saying. if someone was interested, if someone was really interested in collecting that bounty from Iran, you would think they would invest 10% for overhead and be shelling out a lot more than $5,000. All right. Well, Merchant waited for the meeting to be scheduled, so they're going around and they're hanging out at these different clubs where they can start recruiting folks. On about June 6th, Merchant had the CS drive around Brooklyn. Merchant told the CS that through their yarn-dyed work, God willing, he intended to save up to $1 million. I don't even know what that means. I don't even understand what this means because it's not really profitable. Like taking people out, unless you're collecting on the insurance, it's not really very profitable. Like there's not much, I guess, unless you're expecting to collect from Iran. The Affian believes this meant Merchant thought he could make up to $1 million through the criminal scheme. Okay, maybe he was planning on getting paid off. If he's going to be making $1 million, why is he paying $5,000? Merchant hires hitmen to carry out the assassination plot. Okay, so on or about June 10th, Merchant spoke to the CS over the phone and discussed meeting the hitmen in person later that evening. Following the discussion, Merchant and the CS met the two hitmen, who were in fact UCs, which is, we identified earlier, they're undercover agents. He meets them in Manhattan. Merchant advises the UCs that he's looking for 3 services from them. So I don't want you to just do this. No, I need lots of services from you. First, theft of documents, arranging protests at political rallies, and for them to kill some. This is you're asking for a very broad resume here, because I don't really picture a hitman at like protests, like waving. I just don't picture that. Again, maybe too much of my knowledge of this has been shaded by Hollywood, and I'm not getting an accurate picture. But this seems like the sort of thing that you're not picturing that the guy who's like, the sniper on a building, set up with the whole click thing, and he's got the whole tripod set up there to, take his. You're not picturing that he also like moonlights in getting paid $20 an hour to be involved in protests. This is just not how I'm picturing it. It's just not how I'm picturing it. And then he goes in and steals it's like he's looking for like Igor, like Dr. Frankenstein here. It's like, I need Igor. Igor, if I want you to sometimes I'm going to need you to bring me brains. Sometimes I'm gonna need you to pick up my frappuccino for me at Starbucks. Sometimes I'm going to need you to take the shot from 600 yards away. Sometimes I'll need that. I need someone who's well-rounded. If you can't do that, like, what am I doing? What good are you to me? What good are you to me? If you're not, this is the weirdest thing in the world. Merchant stated the person who wanted them to murder was a political person. Merchant said that he was willing to pay for these services and have a long-term relationship with the UCs. I'm just not going to be in the country, but we're going to have a long-term relationship. I'm not going to be anywhere near you. You're never going to see me. We're not allowed to talk. Definitely never talk about anything like this on the phone, but we're going to have a long-term relationship. Okay. During the meeting, Merchant presented himself as the representative in the U.S., indicating that there were other people who work for outside the U.S., so he's got other countries that he's doing his thing. Merchant told the U.S. that he wants them to tell the UCs that he wants them to pay them in cash through hawalas in Istanbul and Dubai. If you're unfamiliar with the word hawala, if you're unfamiliar with that, don't be embarrassed, because I was unfamiliar with this also. I pulled it up here. I don't really know what this means, because I was like, I don't know what a hawala is. Hawala is an informal method of transferring money without any physical money actually moving. So is that like PayPal? A money transfer without money movement, another definition is simply trust. Is that a loan? Is that an IOU? Is there actually, I don't know what this means. Maybe one of you know better than I do. But I did try looking this up when I was reading. Whoa. It's an alternative remittance channel that exists outside traditional banking systems. Transactions between Hawala brokers are made without promissory notes because the system is heavily based on trust and the balancing of Hawala brokers' books. So maybe it's like IOU, then that IOU gets transferred to someone else and gets transferred to someone else, gets transferred to someone else, and money never actually moves hands. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, all right. You guys know what a Hawala is? Have you heard of that? Could be that too. That's how I look at it. It's like he's not even paying them. It's like, I'll give you an IOU, but he ends up giving them money. We'll see. The money ends up coming. So Merchant reiterated the UC's work would be long-term work, and most likely he would travel to Pakistan before giving them further instructions. So we're not going to do this now. Using the plural tense to indicate he was working with people overseas, Merchant stated that we would give the instructions, including the target name, to the hitman either the last week of August 2024 or the first week of September 2024 when Merchant was out of the U.S. The undercover agents told Merchant that they would provide him with a secure cellular phone to communicate with them, as Merchant had requested the CS, and would be in touch about how much their services would cost. So maybe the $5,000 was just the brokerage fee for the CS? Maybe? Merchant told the UCs, I will assure you will not regret me. So maybe that's the explanation here. If you want to try and give this story some legitimacy, so maybe that's just a brokerage fee. The people who are doing the work are going to be paid a lot more money for hooking him up with these hitmen. The CS was getting $5,000. Maybe. I guess. I'm just trying to figure out how the feds are going to try and sell this. It's actually having happened, and that's how I would sell it if I was them, based on what we're reading here. On about June 12th, 2024, Merchant met with one of the UCs. Again, obtained a cellular phone from the UC for the undercover agent to use in furtherance of the assassination plot. During the meeting, Merchant agreed to pay the UCs a $5,000 advance payment for the plot. So they're getting money. Merchant stated that he would take him a week to obtain the money, but that he would pay the UCs in either New York or Las Vegas. Now, the affiant writes here, I'm aware based on my training experience that a hawala is an informal and unregulated method of transferring money often between two countries without any physical money moving. Typically, the system requires two hawaladars, one in each country, to handle a transaction without money being wired overseas. I don't know. That's funny. That's funny. Money transfers between two parties in one country that are surrogates for the other. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Thank you, Sia. So Merchant creates coded language for the plot. Let's get this plot moving. So now we're going to come up with our code phrases. So we're going to see that there's going to be 4 different code phrases for these multifaceted hitmen who are actually undercover agents. Following the meeting with the undercover agent, Merchant met with the CS again in furtherance of the plot. On or about June 13th, when he met with the CS, he wrote out coded language on a piece of paper. They instructed CS to copy down and use when communicating with him in the future. So we're not going to be using things like stealing or banging or anything like that. No. We're going to have our code words. First code word, and they're all going to be related to yarn clothing because we're yarn dealers. So that's why we're yarn dealers, because we're yarn dye business or something like that. So Merchant wrote that the word t-shirt would mean protest. I really just want this thing. And when I do it, it just paints it. And I can't tell you how annoyed I'm getting. I'm going to do it this way. It'll go better. So where t-shirt means protest, which is described as the lightest work. The phrase flannel shirt would mean stealing, which was heavier work. So that we're going to use, that's why it's flannel, because it's heavier work. Leave it on. Then you have fleece jacket, which is commit the act of the game, which means clickety clicky, clickety clicky, clickety clicky, indicating murder, as previously discussed. The phrase denim jacket referred to sending money. So there you go. That's what denim jacket means. That's how I'm going to send you an expensive denim jacket when they're sending money. Okay. Merchant told the CS to use code words only orally on the phone and not to text them. Merchant further instructed the CS to run the legitimate clothing business they previously discussed to serve as a front for the plot so they can maintain communication. Because if we don't have a business going on there, people will start asking questions. Merchant also indicated an affinity for Iran and told the CS that the money they were using to plot the halal, meaning permitted. They were using halal money, as in, I guess that's how Jews would say kosher, or Muslims would say kosher for whatever. All right. After meeting with the purported hitman, Merchant traveled to Boston, Massachusetts, began arranging means to obtain the $5,000 to pay the hitman. So he goes to Boston to get the money, and on about June 18th, in a telephone call with the associate. What happened there? That was weird. On about June 18th, in a telephone call with the associate U.S. Merchant asked for assistance obtaining $5,000. He told the associate it was difficult to obtain the money from Pakistan because everything was closed due to the Eid holiday. Then he he instructs the associate to transfer $5,000 through a hawala, which Merchant would pay him back either in Pakistan or via another hawala. So this is how they're trying to get the money over to the hitman. This is for the hitman, right? Or for the CS. I'm not sure. On or about June 20, 2024, Merchant contacted the associate again regarding the $5,000. The associate asked if he could transfer the money to a bank account, to which Merchant responded that it had to be cash and he needed it by Friday, meaning by June 21st, 2024. So don't play games. We need the money now. Later that day, Merchant called the CS, told the CS that he had arranged someone to give the CS $5,000. Merchant instructed the CS to take a photograph of a serial number on a $1 bill and text the image to Merchant. Take a photograph of a serial number and send that over. Merchant explained that it would send the image of the serial number to a person with the $5,000. Then, when the CS went to pick up the money, he would show the person the serial number as verification. So that's going to be like your little code to get the $5,000. He knows you're the right guy for him to give the money to. So, Merchant said that the CS should expect a call from the individual when the money was ready, and it would probably come from Pakistan. Merchant explained that after the CS received the money, Merchant would travel back to New York, collect the money from the CS, and deliver it to the hitman. So they are getting $5,000, I guess. I don't know. On about June 21st at approximately 5 a.m., CS received a series of missed WhatsApp calls from an overseas telephone number that had a display name of someone the CS knew to be Merchant's cousin living overseas. Because remember, the CS is not someone who was always working for the feds. The CS is basically someone who, when Merchant approached him, purportedly he came to the feds, he came to the FBI and told them, hey, this guy's trying to recruit me to engage in illegal activity. So they and work for them. He's a confidential source. He's not an actual trained agent. The CS responded that he had not received the money. The person then gave the CS telephone number to contact to pick up the $5,000. Later that day, the CS texted the number and picked up the $5,000 in Queens, New York. As instructed by the merchant, the CS showed the serial number of the dollar bill to the individual, and the individual then handed over the $5,000. So that's how the money changed hands. Okay. Merchant makes an advance payment for the assassination plot. On or about June 21, 2024, merchant traveled from Boston to New York to make the advance payment to the hitman for All righty. Sorry about that. Oh my God. Oh my God. All of a sudden, the whole city went dark. Everything went dark on me. That was not good. I apologize for that. Everything just went black. I was sitting in blackness here. It was scary. It's very, very scary. It's very, very. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? And now I got to pull everything up that I had open. Well, That's not cool. All right. My apologies for that. That was not good. Let's get back in here. To be fair, I really don't think it was YouTube. I really don't think it was YouTube. All of a sudden, like, have I mentioned I'm on location? I am on location. Yeah, and for all of a sudden, everything just sort of. This is true. This is well documented. Kinky. What did I miss here? The orange eel gets a hat at 1811. I missed that. This was really funny. Operation Knitting Needle. Tie-dye yarn. Anyway, I apologize for that. Let me check and see. If I missed a K. Dot Ray says you ask your friend to give your brother X amount of money in one place and say that you'll give his cousin X amount where you are. That's what halawa is? Hawala? Whatever. Okay. I guess. So you give my brother, you're in another country. So let's say I'll give my brother, I'll give your brother money and you give my cousin money. And then I'll get the money later for my cousin. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, K-Dot. Get back in here. Where was we? Scrolling back to what were we up to here? So take this a little bit here. So Merchant says that he's gonna be you should expect a call and they expect the CS receive the money. After the CS received the money, Merchant would travel back to New York, collect the money from the CS and deliver it to the hitman. On about June 21, 2024, at approximately 5 a.m., the CS received a series of missed WhatsApp calls from an overseas telephone number. They said it's his cousin living overseas. CS called the number back and the person asked whether the CS had received the $5,000. And the confidential source says, no, I didn't get no money. The person then gave the CS telephone number to contact to pick up the $5,000. Later that day, the CS texted the number and picked up the $5,000 in Queens. As instructed by Merchant, the source showed the serial number to the dollar bill and got his money. On about June 21, Merchant traveled from Boston to New York to make the advance payment to the hitman, and the CS picked Merchant up at a bus station. Merchant took possession of the $5,000 in cash that the CS picked up from the merchant. Merchant then met the UCs in Manhattan. After the UCs arrived, Merchant handed over the $5,000 in cash to them. A photograph of the $5,000 is below. Okay. After Merchant paid the $5,000 to the UCs, one of the UCs stated, "Now we're bonded." To which Merchant responded, "Yes." See, now my coloring is working without me having to double click it. I like that better. The UC then stated, now we know we're going forward. We're doing this." To which Merchant responded, "Yes, absolutely." Okay. All right. If it was my electric bill, I would not have gotten back here this fast. They don't turn it back on that fast. This room, I keep overloading. This happened like the first night I was here. I don't know why, but yeah. Hi, AI Joe. We're not a... not AI Joe. All right. Merchant reiterated the plan was the UCs go forward with his 3 plots. Again, every time the 3 plots, I need protesters. For crying out loud, I need protesters. And stealing documents. Merchant added that he wanted the UCs to launder money for him as well. We got a new one. We got to come up with a new code word for this one because we're going to call for laundering money. Maybe that's what Denim Jacket was all about. Merchant explained that he would return to Pakistan before giving the UCs additional details about the murder plot. Merchant suggested meeting the UCs in Dubai or Istanbul to convey the instructions because it would be easier for him to not risk getting caught. Merchant reiterated the plot would occur in the U.S. Merchant ended the meeting by telling the UCs that he would be in touch to deliver further instructions. Merchant subsequently made flight arrangements and planned to travel out of the U.S. on Friday, July 12, 2024. On or about July 12, 2024, law enforcement agents observed Merchant place his luggage in the trunk of a vehicle outside his place of residence. Law enforcement then swooped on in there, arrested Merchant, and searched his place of residence and his person pursuant to a lawfully executed search warrant. During the search, law enforcement searched Merchant's wallet and found a handwritten note inside with the code words that Merchant invented to communicate about the assassination plot. A photograph of a piece of paper and the code word is below. It's weird that it's in English, right? You would think it wouldn't be in English. That's what you would think. Right? It's just me. I would think it would be like, in some language which has, a lot more squiggly lines. Respectfully requested the court issue a limited order sealing until further order the court this complaint. Premature disclosure of the contents of this complaint will seriously jeopardize the investigation, including by giving other subjects and potential targets an opportunity to flee from prosecution, destroy or tamper with evidence, change patterns of behavior, intimidate potential witnesses, and notify Confederates. Some of the evidence in this investigation is stored electronically and can be completely and permanently erased. Some of the evidence in this investigation involves communications that can be transferred to alternate platforms. If alerted to the existence of the complaint, there's reason to believe that other subjects under investigation will destroy that evidence and change their patterns of behavior. So if we seal it for the limited purpose of disclosure to the defendant and defense counsel, the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of Texas, the district in which the defendant was arrested on Friday, July 12th, for purposes of presentment, as well as relevant U.S. foreign or intergovernmental authorities at the discretion of the U.S. And otherwise it remains sealed when that seal was lifted. And so hence they're asking for his arrest. That was the... There you go. There you go. So that's the story as told by the FBI. Do you buy it? You think the story makes sense? Is this actually something that happened? This is not. Sorry, I'm trying to find my main screen here. Really? This is what I want to. Okay. FYI, plot credits, Jussie Smollett. You guys are killing me tonight. You're killing me tonight. You're really killing me tonight. That was good. That was pretty good. Okay. I have a story I want to share with you all that I'm a little scared to talk about on YouTube. I'll probably save it. I'm going to save it. Okay. I mentioned earlier, and I'm not closing the show down now. There's still more to cover here. But I mentioned earlier that I'm doing an after show party on locals. Part of what I'm going to be covering in locals is pretty much the sickest story I've ever heard about a politician in my life. I don't know if it's true. I don't know what to make out of this story. Maybe everyone knows this is true. I don't know. Some of you may know what I'm referring to here. It relates to someone who's running for significant office today, a name you all know, and a story that happened roughly 30 years ago. That is pretty much the sickest story I think I've ever heard in my life about anybody. So I can't really talk about it. I can't really talk about it now. But I definitely plan on talking about it on locals in the after show. So we'll save that. We'll save that for that. I was definitely going to say that for that. Completely unrelated to that campaign. I will point this out. This is something that I caught today that I was just like, that's pretty funny. Liz Cheney, notorious TDS sufferer extraordinaire, someone found a tweet of hers from 2020. Kamala Harris is a radical liberal who would raise taxes, take away guns and health insurance, and explode the size and power of the federal government. She wants to recreate America in the image of what's happening on the streets of Portland and Seattle. We won't give her the chance. That's what Liz Cheney said back in 2020 when people still knew her name. Na, 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 na. Yeah, so I thought, that made me laugh. All right. Let's get to the body cam footage. All right. Let's do the CNN version of this. The new body cam footage that came out today. A lot of people are making a very big deal about this. I don't really make much out of this body cam footage. Maybe some of you can explain to me what we see from this body cam footage. But we are going to watch we're going to watch it now. This is the new body cam footage from the cop. This is the cop. Remember they said that one of the cops jumped up onto the roof and saw the shooter? And then he spun his gun around at him and he jumped back down. Okay, so we got this cop's body cam footage here. We're going to review it together. You tell me what we make out of this. There's really not disturbing images. There's not any disturbing images. So no warning, no viewer's discretion.
It's the moment we've heard so much about, seen now for the first time on police body camera. A Butler Township police officer asking for a boost to check the roof of the AGR building outside former President Trump's rally. There's no audio in this video obtained by CNN. You can see on the timestamp this is less than 1 minute before crooks started shooting. The officer climbs up to the roof and almost immediately drops down, and the tone changes. You don't see it on the video, but police have said crooks aimed his rifle right at the officer.
Okay, that's really way too fast.
He runs to the other side of the building to look at the roof. And on this officer's dash cam, which was recording audio, you can hear those first 3 gunshots from Thomas Matthew Crooks at 6:11 p.m. The officer rushes back to his car to get his rifle. You hear him shout to other law enforcement officers on the dash cam.
Don't pull up your head, he's right there!
Back to the officer's body cam.
This close, bro, dude, he turned around on me. Where's he at? He's straight up! Who's got eyes on him?
Chaos ensues. By this point, the gunman, Crooks, has already been killed by Secret Service. But it doesn't appear local law enforcement is aware.
You about to hop up, he's laying down. He's going on.
The reason they're not aware is because the Secret Service did such a crap job of integrating comms between the different police agencies.
Next building over. Right after the gap. He's got glasses, long hair.
These videos provide new insight into local law enforcement's movements moments before the shooting and the frantic after.
And that's something, I guess. It does. We do see, we do see what everyone was doing as, when that cop sticks his head up, you sort of picture him working with one other guy. And apparently there's a team there, a whole bunch of these folks there.
Aftermath. Since that day, there's been finger-pointing between U.S. Secret Service and Western Pennsylvania law enforcement, including testimony from the acting director of the Secret Service asserting local snipers hidden in a building could have spotted crooks.
I'm not saying that they should have neutralized him, but if they'd have just held their post and looked left, maybe, and there's a lot of maybes there, Senator.
A lot of maybes, but
this new body camera footage also suggests local law enforcement had warned Secret Service they needed to protect the building crooks used to fire the shots.
This is not the video I wanted. This is not the one I wanted. I wanted just the video of the footage there. Let me see if this one is better. I'll try this. This is not it either.
Is concerned that the shooter could turn his rifle on the officer. There's no audio from that moment, but some
this is him sticking his head up on the roof.
Video later captures the
right there. Boom. We can't see Crooks. I'm not sure if Crooks is this. If this is Crooks up there, we can't see it. I'm sure he saw him. Sure, I don't question that. But we can't really, we don't see Crooks turning his gun toward him. But this is him when he's sticking his head up. That's what his body cam caught. Now you can understand the body cam footage is going to be lower than his head, so his head is sticking up. And his chest is lower, so that's why we have such a poor view here relative to what the cop's view was. But I think that looks like the normal part because you have the triangle sticking up here. I think that's just the next triangle. I don't think that's Crooks. I don't think that's him. We can't see him.
officer's immediate reaction to what he saw. Listen to this.
This close, bro. Dude, he turned around on me. Seriously, it was right where you picked me up, bro. He was on that left side.
Now remember, the suspect, the shooter.
Why don't you just give us the damn... This is not what I wanted. Was it really? I did not know that. You know what? We're going to do it this way. Let me pull up. I'll find that on X. It'll just be easier than this mess here. Give me a moment. I don't like what I shared with you so far.
You don't mind if I go off tele?
Okay, this is much better.
Dude, you guys have access to that chart that I love so much. You don't mind if I go off teleprompter, do you? Because these teleprompters are so damn boring. I try and explain that. Oh, there's it. Wow. You guys are doing it. They're getting better with time. My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow, right? So that's when I left office. That was the...
This is pretty cool. Seeing him talking as he's seeing what's happening over to his right over there.
Lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit over that months old.
I have not vetted this yet, but I like this breakdown here. You're getting all the different body cam views same time, seeing what was happening from different angles at the rally. This is pretty good.
I hope he's turning this way. Be careful, guys.
That was the shot that took him out. A little faster than Holster Woman.
This close, bro. Dude, he turned around on me. He's straight up.
Okay, we have 2 civilians attending to him.
I don't know. Who's got eyes on him?
Back up.
It's pretty cool seeing Trump in the lower corner there. It's such a boss moment. This is one of the things we cannot let the media forget about this moment. This was such an iconic moment and such an important thing, which is just revealing so much about our country. We cannot let the media pretend that like, oh, this is just no big deal. Let's all forget about this iconic moment.
Jesse, it was right where you picked me up, bro. He was on that left side.
Hey, shop. I mean, hey, shop. A lady who's sharp in the stands, the far stands.
So people are asking why didn't he immediately call over the radio when he had a gun pointed at him? We don't know if he did or did not, because there's no audio for that part of it, which the audio that everyone wants to know.
I need an ambulance for the back where the clearing.
Get them out of here! Get them out! Yo, Blasco. Yo, you about to hop up. He's laying down. He's on north. Next building over. Right after the gap. He's got glasses, long hair. Need a ladder. She's gonna hole. Yo, Mike, I climbed the wall and I popped my head right in front of him, bro. He's got a book bag, he's got mag, AR laying down. Yeah, he's laying down, pruned out, book bag next to him.
Give me a hard line.
Most sections over here. Most section over here. That's Holland up there.
But watch out, because he can come right down on you over there.
Oh, this is going to drop. Oh. Keep eyes on. Give me a ladder. No, eyes up.
It's pretty sick that these officers don't yet know that he's been dead for like 2 minutes. It's pretty sick that like that their communication is so bad that they're acting as if there's still an active shooter on the roof now. I mean, Trump's already in the car. And they didn't get him up until they knew he was neutralized. And it's like, what the hell?
Carry on the ambulance to the stands.
Keep eyes up. Eyes up.
This building, he was on top of this building, the left one. I jumped up.
By the yellow crane. This is a very
Left side, the first one. That one, laying down.
That's my point.
There's a gap in between.
How do they not know this? Like, you know, everyone in the audience knows this, and no one tells them yet. Like, this is how crappy their communication service, the integration was.
You in there.
Get an ambulance to the VIP tent.
Yeah.
We have a unit on the roof.
Affirmative.
Oh wait, this is one video. There's another body cam thing also.
Yo, Chess, you got me up once. Give me up again. One more. Ready?
Completely. Completely.
1, 2, 3.
So there you go. That's one body cam footage. There is another cop who was yelling about I want to find the other one, the other body cam footage. This looks like it's the same thing. This is the same thing. There was one of you pointed out that that there was Jack Kosovic has it. Thank you. I'll check Jack. Problem with Jack is that he tweets like a maniac. So there's just like I'll go back like a while here. This guy lives on Twitter. This is just an hour ago. Hmm.
To, you know, having the levers of power, but they're not
That's pretty
actually
funny.
smart. So, you know, you can trick them into sharing your own memes. Like I remember she was reading Breitbart articles at one point in this insane speech that she gave in 2016.
7:42.
And she.
So that would be like 5 hours ago. I'm only at 3 hours ago. Where are you? This is a great point. You know it's bad when they wheel out Adam Kinzinger to say, let's just drop it. This is talking about the stolen valor issue. Stolen valor. A lot of people are freaking out about his stolen valor, and we're going to get to that before I wrap up here. What time is this? 12:52. I'm very late on my show already.
This guy doesn't know the first thing about unity or service. He's too busy serving himself. This guy doesn't know the first.
He's cracking up. He's cracking up. We're going to get there soon. Is it? This is what I wanted to find. Are we going to get a video of that? This is what I wanted. This is the video I had before, and from the CNN link that I couldn't find. This is what I think I want.
Up your head, he's right there. This close, bro. Dude, he turned around on me. He's straight up.
I need an ambulance for the back.
Yo, you about to hop up. He's laying down. He's on north. Next building over. Right after the gap. He's got glasses, long hair. This building. He was on top of this building. The left one. I jumped up.
Yellow crate. This is a very serious.
That side, the first one. That one. Laying down. There's a gap in between you and there. Yo, Tess, you got me up once. Give me up again. Ready? Ready? Yep. All right, ready? Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. No, yep. Yeah.
And I very much appreciate them blotting him out so I can actually share this on YouTube.
Control. They're staying there. Do we have a suspect or in custody?
Yes, we do.
Check on our guys, make sure we're all squared away. Adrenaline's pumping. I heard some shots.
I got you.
All right, I heard some snaps close by us when we were peeling out of there, so just make sure nobody's
fucking close.
Make sure nobody's whacked. We are committed. We are on with the body. What's up there? Pretty sure we got shot at. It was a real close snap, dude.
Bro, before you came up here, I popped my head up there like an idiot by myself, dude. He turned around, I dropped, and I saw his.
That's how they got somebody up here. I thought somebody was up here. I put my head up here. If he was up here, I'd been toast. I don't want to split. No. Is he a shooter? Did he have a weapon? Is he?
That was.
This guy to me looks like the shadiest person in the world. I don't know why. As soon as I saw him, I was like, this guy seems like he's a scam artist who's actually in on this shooting. When I saw this guy, I was like, oh, he's definitely part of it. If there's a conspiracy, this guy's at the center of it. Just listen to his questions. Is there a shooter? Does he have a gun? Does he have a gun? Does he have a gun? Everyone knows there were shots fired. This is like 7 minutes after the firing, after the thing. It was all over the internet at this point. He's like, but did he have a gun though?
I don't want to split. No. Is he a shooter? Did he have a weapon? Is he?
That was the report. That was a report.
Yeah, exactly. He got up here, he wasn't moving. No.
Maybe that's what it is.
I told them they need to post the guys here. I told them that the
You hear that? You hear that? I told them they need to post someone here. I told them you need someone out this building.
I told them that Tuesday. I told them to post guys over here.
I have no contact with the inside.
What? No, we're inside.
Alpha 1, Bravo 1. Taking.
I told them to post guys over here. I wasn't even concerned about it because I thought someone was on the roof. I thought that's how we. Like, how now can you lose a guy walking back here? They were on the roof. They were inside. Why were we not in the building? Because you need to go somewhere over on the west side. Why weren't we? Because I thought we were going to post guys over here. I talked to the Secret Service guys. They're like, yeah, no problem. We're going to post guys over here. Did he get himself, Mike, or did they get him from over here? Oh, okay. I don't know. So much for a picture of Trump.
Yeah, someone should have a picture with a drone. So yeah, there you have on the audio there. One cop claiming he told him 5 days earlier, because this shooting happened on Saturday. He told him on Tuesday, you need to have someone outside that building there, guarding the building. What the hell's happening? What the hell is happening? So as there are more developments on this, I will definitely keep you abreast on that. But
well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump just had an out.
This is not what I wanted. The stolen valor issue is one that seems to be a really big deal to a lot of folks. We're moving over towards Tim Walz here for the last segment on this show. After I finish up here, I am going to be going over to locals. There's a link in the description. There's a link pinned in the chat. Did I pin the link in the chat? I don't know if I pinned it in Rumble. I don't think I pinned it in Rumble. I'm going to remedy that now. But triggered about the same cover charge after Joe let me be free for ages at first. I didn't remember that I let you be free. This is what I want to stress. I just want people over there in locals. The cover charge is designed to serve sort of as like an incentive, like a cover charge to a museum, but it's not like a cover charge to. It's not like a cover charge to something like whatchamacallit, like an amusement park or something like that. It's just like a cover charge to a museum. That's all it is. That's all it's designed to be. So don't take it like it's like, you know, I'm very happy to give out a free code. You hit me up on X at the following pro. You send me an email which is goodlogic@gmail.com. And I'm very happy to hook you up and take care of you. I want to. So please make sure that you do hit me up, because I want to make sure that everyone's able to get in there. All right. So, but I'm going to be really getting into politics and covering what everyone seems to be missing about this election race. There's just so much stupidity that I hear. I was on an X space today, and I couldn't even believe the nature of the discussion that was going on there. It was an X space that was covering the Mar-a-Lago press conference that Trump had, and it's like so much I was hearing that was like ridiculously just naive, or I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. But I will tell you that one thing that did come up was sentiment that I saw expressed over here from Aquatic Nomad, which is that stolen valor incenses people in ways that if you're not associated with the military, which I'm not, I've never had any association with the military on a personal basis, never served in any capacity. I don't have that type of distinction whatsoever. I have the utmost respect for anyone who has served in the military. Apparently, to those who are in any way associated with the military, stolen valor is like basically like considered a line that you can never, ever, 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 ever cross. There was a guy who was in there on the X base, who had served in the military for 2 decades, and he was saying how the notion of misrepresenting, and I think he really expressed it better than I possibly can. But he was like, you have to understand, we sign up to serve, and we go out, and some of us who go are deployed into a combat zone. There's no such thing as a quasi-combat zone. Now, when he was serving as Operation Enduring Freedom or something of that nature, I don't want to get the name wrong. And Tim Walz served in a capacity of training officers to go out into combat. But he himself never faced any combat. In fact, as I tweeted out today, Donald Trump faced 8 more live rounds in the last month than Tim Walz has faced in his entire military career. He's never faced any active combat, and the knock on him is that when he saw that he was actually that his unit was going to be deployed into active combat, he retired and then went out and claimed that he had served as in the capacity of being I don't want to get the title wrong here. Sergeant, so when you get it right for me. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of misspeaking on this because I know that countless members of you in the audience who are watching this are far more proficient in the title and the names of these different operations. And I certainly don't want to. So he claimed that he was Tim Walz, who was a sergeant major, command sergeant major. That was it. Thank you, Thad. Yeah, so command sergeant major. That was the title that he had. According to reports, he was assigned. He was going to be assigned that on a provisional basis, assuming he had finished certain requirements and tests that he never ended up finishing. And as Javon Price, the person who was on that X space, was pointing out, is when you attain a rank in the military, that rank is not. If you do not retire with that rank, whatever is the rank that your label is having when you're retiring, that's what you're known as forever. So someone who claims, he said the two problems with what Tim Walz did is, one is he claimed that he claimed when he was running for office that he was a command sergeant major. And he never attained, and even though he had a chance to attain that rank, he never did because he didn't go through the whole 9 yards. So he's putting himself out as being a higher rank than he actually was. The other is that he keeps making continual references to his service in combat when he's never faced any live rounds. And that is considered stolen valor, because you can understand the concept of that, hey, you don't start comparing yourself, that if you're not someone who actually faced death, don't start holding yourself out like that, because that cheapens the actual sacrifice of people who are facing death, serving in our military, and actually expose themselves, put their own lives on the line to help protect our country. You either did it or you didn't. And as Javon Price pointed out, they talk about a quasi-combat zone. He was in Italy. He's like, there's no such thing as a quasi-combat zone. You're either in a combat zone, it's either a combat zone or it's not. It's a made-up term that they're trying to use to say, well, since he was helping Operation Enduring Freedom and training people for it, he's part of the support team. And the support team, when someone is, there's different types of support. You can have, as Javon Price was explaining, that you can have F-14 fighters that are providing air support. They're engaged in combat. That's a different kind of support than support that is 1,000 miles away training folks. Is it helpful that you're making these people battle ready? Yeah, that's definitely helpful. But you can't refer to yourself as being part of this support as if you're actually the ones who are pulling the trigger, as if you're the ones who's facing potential death in the course of your service. And when he goes out there and holds himself out as someone who did that, that is considered such an utter taboo. I mean, it's because you're basically cheapening the very noble work that is done by people who are facing death. And when you consider it from that perspective, you can understand why people in the military are outraged. Outraged. Now, they tried contrasting. They said, well, J.D. Vance said that he was there. He didn't actually fire weapons at anyone. Yeah, but I think he was playing in some sort of correspondence type of role in active combat zones. At least he was in a combat zone. And he never tried misportraying what he did. He never tried misportraying the nature of the service that he provided, as opposed to Tim Walz, who he said it's not something you get confused about and you would accidentally misunderstand. When the guy serves National Guard for 24 years, whatever it is that he's serving, whatever capacity he's serving in, then it's like it's something you understand when you're in basic training. as to how you hold yourself out. And this is something that everybody in the military understands. So when you breach it, it's a way of actually stabbing. You're stabbing your brothers, because what they have ultimately, what they have, especially the ones who pay the ultimate sacrifice, all they have is their valor. All they have. And that's what he's cheapening. That's what he's basically saying, like, oh, okay, these people have actual valor. I'm going to pretend I have that same valor. All they have, when someone who actually pays the ultimate price, is their valor, that they served their country. They put their neck on the line. And you want to try and assume that nobility, that you've done that, when you've never actually exposed yourself to that kind of risk. You are cheapening them. And that is why there is a very strong outrage, which you see all over the place, which I'm seeing all over social media, as to how people are furious at Tim Walz for this. Now, when he was a congressman, or he's in Minnesota, there's no national spotlight on him. But now that there is a national spotlight, because he's running to be a heartbeat away from the highest office in the land, all of a sudden there is a massive commotion going on about it, and it seems as if he's become very defensive about it. It's one of the things that Jack Posobiec was sharing out there, that he's starting to get very, very angry about it. Everyone, and they're trying so hard to shut it down, because they recognize that this is just that they walked into a hornet's nest here, where it just sort of riles people up that this is the person you chose. As Jim Banks points out over here, as an Afghanistan veteran, it's shameful to watch CNN and I don't know who that is, Bricolard, belittle J.D. Vance's service in the Marines in an effort to run interference with Tim Walz's stolen valor. When J.D. got the call to go to Iraq and serve in combat zone, he actually went, unlike Walz. That's the difference. It's like, look, was he dishonorably discharged? No. Because he had served long enough that he was able to retire. But don't start holding yourself out as if you were the one who was there. I was looking to other stuff on this.
Let's discuss this now further with CNN senior political commentator Adam Kinzinger. He, of course, served 6 terms as a Republican congressman from Illinois, and he is currently...
Love referencing that he's a Republican, because they know that he just loves pissing all over the Republicans, and he thinks that somehow makes him very special and very, very important.
A lieutenant colonel in the Air National Guard. After serving in the Air Force, he was deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Also, he was part of the launch of Republicans for Harris this week. Congressman, thanks for being with us. What did you make of J.D. Vance's attack on Tim Walz's military retirement and the timing of it?
I mean, it's ridiculous, Brianna. I mean, look, first off, veterans need to be supporting each other, even if you disagree with their politics.
It's not their politics. It's a stolen valor. You are such an utter cuck. This guy, there must just be like a train that's running through his house all the time.
The attack he made about so-called leaving his men behind and he goes off and retires. Literally, it would be the same attack if I said J.D. Vance did not re-enlist in the Marine Corps, therefore he left the Marine Corps without his skill set. And that would be an unfair attack.
That's not at all what people are saying. That's not at all what people are saying.
Obviously, because all he's required to do is to serve his enlistment period. For Tim Walz, all he's required to do is serve his period as well. He could have retired from the National Guard after 20 years. 9/11 happened at that time. Eventually, the Iraq War happened, and he stayed in the military. At the point of 24 years and whatever months, he made the decision to retire, again, as is his right, as is anybody's right that served more than 20 years. If he would have
so desperately trying to throw cover here,
left his unit in a bad place, they could have stop-lossed him, which a lot of people were stop-lossed at the time, where they wanted to retire, and the military said, no, we need...
And yet he called himself Command Sergeant Major.
Your position, and they can force you to not retire. That obviously wasn't the case. This is a completely unfair attack. And by the way, I know many people in the military that were getting ready to deploy again, that were retirement eligible, and they pulled the retirement handle instead of deploying again. That was their right to do, and there was nobody in the military that faulted them for doing it. Now, we did fault people that still had time left on their contract, and they avoided deployment even though they had time left on their contract. It was very different when somebody says, I'm going to retire, as Walz had every right to do, and this is an unfair, terrible.
Yeah. As mostly peaceful means, but you know it's bad when they wheel out Adam Kinzinger and said, let's just drop it. Let's just move along. Let's move along. Let's move along. It's a ridiculous thing. Let's move along. I do think that, I think that this is ultimately, this element is going to bite the Democrats in the butt. It's not like Democrats enjoy much support from the military in general in elections. The Democrats tend to lean very significantly Republican. So it's like, you can't, just because you're angry at them, you don't get to vote twice unless you're a Democrat. But but I do think that what it can do is it can prop up the numbers that come out of the military. I do think that that's possible. And to the extent that this should not be like a major issue, but it's definitely something that should come out there. Because I do think that, hey, look, you know what? If you get an extra couple of thousand votes of people who are like, no, I normally don't care much about elections, but I'm going to come out and vote for this one. Why not? Right? Why not? But let me see if I missed anything. Every rank has a school. He never did the school. His unit went to Italy and other places in Europe for OEF in the rear with the gear. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Amel. All right. I will say, well, I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to leave you with this before I close out over here and head over to locals. And I'm sorry that I am late in going over to locals. I was supposed to be there 40 minutes ago. I want to leave you with this. You rather have Tim Walz or this guy? Because this guy, I'm liking him more and more. Every time I see JD Vance, I like him more and more. This is him delivering remarks in Atlanta.
Every time the Democrats attack us and attack our movement, they can't help but tell on themselves. They reveal how much they hate the American people. Now, remember this. Remember, Barack Obama said we cling to God and guns. Remember that? Hillary Clinton called us deplorables. And now Kamala Harris says we're weird. Well, Kamala, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about some things that are weird. We think it's weird that Democrats want to put sexually explicit books in toddlers' libraries.
Very, very friggin' weird. Very friggin' weird. Hitting them on the grooming is a very important thing.
We think it's weird that the far left wants to allow biological males to beat the living crap out of women in boxing. We think it's weird for a presidential candidate to bail convicted rapists and murderers out of prison, and that's what Kamala Harris did. And I think it's especially weird when Kamala Harris comes to Atlanta. I believe came here to this arena. Kamala Harris comes to Atlanta and talks with a fake Southern accent, even though she grew up in Canada. You can't make it up. That's pretty weird. Go watch the clip. She sounded like a Southern belle, even though she grew up in Vancouver. It doesn't make any sense. But on November 5th, she can go back to using her San Francisco accent because we're going to send her packing and we're going to reelect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
Nice finish there. Go back to your failed city. Go back to your failed city, Kamala. We're done with you. You're over. Your political career is over. Go back to San Francisco and the crap storm that you built over there. All right. That is my show. I'm going to head on over to local. It's going to be there in like 5-10 minutes or so. I need to set the stream up. I mean, the stream is set up. I need to set up a link here on StreamYard, which I haven't done that yet. I'm going to be heading on over there. I'm also going to be sending out links. Those of you who have paid in the past, please make sure you do not pay again. If you got cut off, let me know. I will just DM me. I will get you a code to go in there. Presto Zingo, no price. I don't want anybody ever to pay me twice for the same thing. That would make me feel terrible. Please do not do that. Please reach out to me. I will take care of you. I will take care of you. Okay. If you are suffering from Bodynomics and can't afford and don't have the entertainment budget to handle $5 a month, please don't hesitate. Just ask. You hit me up at the following pro on Twitter or X. You can hit me up at goodlogic@gmail.com. I will share a code with you and I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. I will come back for you. I will come back for you. So don't be hesitant. I'm not even going to remember who you are. I have given away a code now hundreds of times. And I'm telling you right now, I don't remember a single person that I gave it to. So I don't tell anyone about it. It's an email. It's a private communication between you and me. And I don't remember it 10 minutes later. So I'm not looking at you any differently or anything like that. And you don't need to tell me a whole story. You don't need to tell me a whole story. I don't need to hear about whatever difficulties you're having because, frankly, it just makes me feel. It makes me feel bad, and I don't want. And I need to be happy when I'm screening these shows. I need to be up. I need to be uplifting. So yeah, you don't feel guilty. Don't feel anything like that. And I'm not doing you a favor. You're doing me a favor by reaching out to me. Okay, I'm not doing you any kind of favor. So just hit me up, and I will take care of you. Those of you, everyone else, I'm going to be over there probably, figure it's now 1:18 my time, Eastern time. I'll probably be there at 1:30. Make sure you head on over to locals. The link is in the description. Link is pinned to the chat. It's not in the, I'm going to pin it to the Rumbles chat because I did not do that yet. Let me pin it to the Rumbles chat. I didn't pin it there. I'm going to pin it there. Locals edition. Let's see. Put this message. I don't know that I put it in the description. Is it in the description in Rumble? Is it in the description? It is in the description in Rumble. So you can click the link down in the description. All right. I will catch you all over there at around 1:30. Probably almost like exactly. I thank you all for joining me. Whether or not you're able to catch the stream afterwards, check out goodlogic.locals.com. Please, wherever you are, please like, share, subscribe, get the word out, tell people about Good Logic. Otherwise, they're going to be left with just crap logic. Who wants that? Who wants that? Make sure that you double check that you're subbed up here. I'm wrapping up my show here on YouTube and on Rumble. I thank you so much for joining me. Have a great night, phenomenal weekend. Don't touch that stinking, filthy lab meat. Stay away from those rotting bugs. Don't eat the bugs. Have a good night and Godspeed.